Hello, my name is Jay, and I'm officially 1 month on testosterone. Now, today definitely is not actually anywhere close to my actual 1 month on testosterone. I'm actually 2 weeks into my first month, but this is just kind of the first opportunity that I've had, so this is where I'm at, and I'm just gonna go over like kind of the general changes that I've had over the past month. It hasn't been too much, and for a long while it was kind of a bummer because I started testosterone and I just wanted everything to happen right away. It was like one day in and I was like, where's my beard? Like, why don't I have a full beard yet? It's definitely been a mental adjustment now that I'm actually on testosterone. Instead of obsessing over how I'm gonna get it, I'm just now obsessing over what's happening and why it's not happening faster. So the first few weeks were kind of difficult. I wasn't really noticing any changes whatsoever. I would make jokes all the time. I was like, they didn't actually give me tea, they just gave me saline water. They're just screwing with me, which obviously was not true. Eventually, a lot of the changes started to materialize themselves, and I'm gonna go over those now. The very first thing that I noticed, I wanna say, maybe not the very first thing, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't actually know that that's true. But one of the first things that I noticed that completely surprised me because I was not expecting it to happen so quickly is my shoulders. My shoulders have broadened significantly in a very short amount of time. I'm insecure about my shoulders being narrow and my hips being wide. Suddenly, I definitely wouldn't say that my shoulders are wider than my hips. Maybe by like centimeters, they're slightly wider, but they are about the same width now, which is extremely exciting in a really embarrassing way. And that's just amazing because I just feel like I'm able to wear shirts that I wasn't comfortable in before. They fit me better in my shoulders now. A lot of shirts are just too big on me because I'm really short. I'm 5'1" or 5'2", just depending on the day. My hips haven't changed shape at all. They haven't changed width, but because my shoulders are broader, it makes them look more proportional to my body, which in a way makes them look smaller, even though they're not at all. Something else I've noticed that is probably really insignificant is this little mustache man right here has definitely been darkening, and I don't want to say getting much longer because I don't actually think that that's true, but it's definitely getting darker, and I've definitely gotten comments about it from multiple people. Something else I've noticed, of course, is my voice changing a bit. My voice is cracking all the time. It's like a little embarrassing depending on the environment, but most of the time when it cracks, it just really gets me excited and really happy just because it's very physical, undeniable truth that the testosterone is in my body and it's working and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So that's really cool. I definitely haven't noticed it getting any deeper per se. It just sort of sounds different and feels different, if that makes sense. It just kind of feels like I'm being forced to talk at a lower pitch, because if I try to talk at the pitches that I would talk in before I started testosterone, my voice just literally cracks. Like, those pitches just literally don't exist to me anymore. I can't talk in them. But you guys can decide for yourself. Here you go. Hello, my name is Jay. I am 19 years old, and this is my voice one day before I go on testosterone. Hello, my name is Jay, and this is my voice 1 month on testosterone. When I first went on testosterone, some things that I noticed, I'm going to assume from menopause, is firstly, heat flashes, lots of heat flashes, very hot all the time. I didn't sweat a lot per se, but I was just definitely a lot hotter than I've ever been in my life. I'm a very small person and I get cold really easily. And so all of a sudden being hot all the time was a very, very strange phenomenon for me that I've never actually experienced. Those have definitely died down. I want to say my body temperature kind of just feels warmer than it did before. There will be environments in which like I can feel air on my body that usually would be making me cold, and it just kind of doesn't now. So that's kind of convenient for me personally because I was always cold before, but if you're already generally a hot person, that would probably be kind of annoying. Also, at the beginning of starting testosterone, I was just crying all the time, like over everything. It wasn't even me crying because I was sad or anything like that. I was extremely happy. I would just cry over happy things, if that makes any sense. I feel like at a certain point, I was literally just crying 2 times every day for like a week. It was a lot. It definitely wasn't something that bothered me at all. If anything, I just thought it was kind of funny. I would just start crying and I'd be like, well, I'm crying again. There it is. But that's definitely stopped. But I definitely haven't found that it's been harder to cry or anything like that. After the fit of crying twice a day ended, I would say I'm just back to kind of crying at my normal rate, whatever that is. I don't know. But I've continued to keep going to the gym since starting testosterone, and I've definitely started noticing physical changes that I definitely did not before I was on hormones. I get to go home and actually feel results. I can feel my muscles growing, and I couldn't feel that before, and it's extremely liberating, and it's very encouraging, and that's really cool to actually be putting in work and seeing the work that you're doing. The first and only time that I got my period after starting T, it was definitely a lot less of a blood flow than usual, and there were definitely a lot less cramps. The time that I had my period for was actually maybe a little bit longer than it usually is, but it was like so minimal bleeding and the cramps were so minimal in comparison to what I usually have that I barely even noticed it was there. I am about around the time that I usually get my period this month. So I'm just kind of like anxiously waiting to see if I'll get it or not, but it hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. My face has begun to get more square. My jaw is just kind of like generally looking more pronounced. Maybe? I don't know. I started to notice more hair on my legs, which I didn't think was possible because I just have the hairiest legs ever. Just like, look at these bad boys. I just don't want to end up looking like a gorilla or something. That was pathetic. Another one of the really exciting body changes has been the size of my breasts because they have been getting so much smaller. I can definitely cover them with my entire hand, and my hand is really small. I don't know if you can like tell by comparison because my head's also really small, so that's not really helpful. But I can definitely cover them with my entire hand without even stretching them, which is wild. If I hold my hands up, like both my arms up, like in the air and like stretch them, it literally looks like I have a flat chest. Like that's how small they've become, which is so cool and so exciting. For anybody that knows me and just doesn't want to know too many details, or for anybody that's uncomfortable with this subject, for the rest of the video I'm going to be talking about between my legs, my junk, as well as my sexual drive. So if that's something that you just don't want to hear about, then by all means you may exit the video now. And I'm going to be talking about my sex drive first and my junk second. So first of all, my sex drive has not changed at all. In fact, it's very strange because if anything, I am less sexually driven than I was before, and I have absolutely no idea why that is. That's just kind of what's happened. One thing worth noting, however, is every time I do get to a point of climax now, it is unbelievably intense, like unrealistically intense. It gets to the point sometimes where afterwards I will literally need to like catch my breath for a minute because it's just like that intense, and I could just like feel my heart beating really fast in my chest. At first, it was so intense that it almost hurt, and I was a little bit concerned for a second. So if there's anybody out there who hasn't started hormones yet, or who's just starting, that experiences that in the future, don't freak out like I did. Now, down to my junk. I have noticed clitoral growth. For anybody that was not aware, because I know that this is a topic that can be kind of taboo or stigmatized or just, you know, kind of personal and uncomfortable to talk about, which is very valid. When you go on testosterone, your clitoris does grow, if I'm not mistaken, fact check me, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. I definitely did not measure the length of my clit before I went on T. It was never really like visible. It was just kind of like under the clitoral hood, I suppose. However, now that I've started testosterone, you know, kind of the little tip of it is like starting to peek out of the hood. Anywho, those are the changes that I've been experiencing this month while on testosterone. It has been a really exciting month. I've definitely felt a lot more comfortable in my body and my skin than I feel like I probably ever have in my entire life. And I am so grateful to be privileged enough to be able to be on hormones. Keep in mind that these are the changes that I've been experiencing, not just 1 month on T, but 2 weeks past my 1 month on T. I know something that I do a lot is obsessively watch people's videos of their transitions and just compare myself and kind of have these expectations for what I'm supposed to look like, what I'm supposed to sound like, what I'm supposed to experience at each month. And so if those weren't changes or experiences that I was seeing at a certain time, I would get really bummed about it. And I just try to keep reminding myself that everybody's transition is unique to them and everybody's experiences are individual and different, and that a lot of it is just purely based on your genetics and you as your own individual. And so I just kind of want to pass that off as a closing statement and say, if you're on hormones and you're watching this, take it easy, take a deep breath. Everything's gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen, and you're gonna be happier than you've ever felt, and it's going to be amazing. And I need to take my own advice. That's all I got. I will see you guys at 2 months.